Sometimes you do things that just don't make logical sense. You floor the gas a little harder than usual on the freeway. Pick the risky startup over the safe corporate gig, and then let your cat curl up right on your pillow again that night. You chalk it up to personality, stress, or just a mood. But what if some of those impulses aren't entirely yours? What if there's an invisible co-writer quietly rewriting parts of your script? Your fluffy roommate might not just be a pet, it could be carrying a microscopic puppet master. Its name is Toxoplasma gondii, a single-celled parasite that's one of biology's sneakiest behavior hackers. Scientists call it a behavioral manipulator. Pop science fans nicknamed it the suicide parasite. It doesn't just live inside you, it tweaks how you handle fear, risk, and maybe even the line between life and death. Here's the number that hits hard. According to the CDC, about 11% of Americans aged 6 and older have been infected, meaning over 40 million people in the U.S. alone are carrying it right now. The odds it's already in you are higher than you'd like to admit. Picture a mouse in the woods somewhere in upstate New York or the California hills. Cat urine smell equals instant red alert. Normal brain screams, "Run!" and the body obeys. But if Toxoplasma gondii gets into its brain, the parasite settles in, especially loving the amygdala, the fear and emotion hub. Rodent studies show infected mice stop avoiding cat scent. Some even approach it with curiosity instead of terror. The internal alarm gets silenced, and the mouse strolls straight toward the predator. For the parasite, it's genius. Cats are the only place it can sexually reproduce. Every other animal, including us, is just a temporary ride. We're not mice, and we're not cat prey. So why does Toxoplasma still end up in millions of Americans, and what exactly is it doing once it's there? Infection sneaks in quietly, scooping the litter box in your apartment, eating a rare steak at a restaurant, drinking contaminated tap water, or biting into unwashed veggies from the farmer's market. Most of the time, your immune system keeps it in check, you never even notice the acute phase. The parasite forms dormant cysts in tissues, especially the brain, and can hang out for decades. That's when the real mystery unfolds. In chronically infected people, researchers have found not just immune markers, but measurable shifts in behavior and reflexes. Reaction times slow slightly. Psychomotor coordination dips. Nothing dramatic, just a subtle fog over your reflexes. You see it on the roads. Multiple studies and meta-analyses link past Toxoplasma infection to higher crash rates. Risk jumps roughly 2.5 times. Imagine merging onto I-405 or I-95. The parasite subtly eases your foot off the brake, making you a touch more reckless. But there's a flip side, a loop that leads straight to entrepreneurship. Research from places like the University of Colorado shows infected people are about 1.8 times more likely to start their own business. At the country level, higher Toxoplasma prevalence correlates with stronger entrepreneurial intentions and less fear of failure. Correlation? Maybe people who take risks are more likely to eat undercooked burgers or handle raw meat. But animal experiments and human data suggest the parasite tweaks dopamine and norepinephrine pathways, dialing down fear and cranking up reward-seeking. No wonder jumping into a startup or betting big on a deal feels a little easier. Yet this forced boldness has a dark underbelly, another loop into mental health. Dozens of studies link Toxoplasma to higher rates of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Meta-analyses put the odds ratio for schizophrenia at around 2.7 times higher in infected people. The parasite doesn't single-handedly cause these illnesses, they're complex, involving genetics, brain development, and environment. But chronic infection messing with dopamine, glial activity, and inflammation could be one extra brick in the wall. Now the plot twists again, from business to thrill-seeking. If the parasite lowers fear, could it fuel adrenaline junkies too? Emerging research ties it to changes in reward circuits, the same ones that push someone to free solo a rock face, base jump, or gun it on a canyon road. Among extreme sports enthusiasts, do traces of Toxoplasma show up more often? The stats are starting to whisper yes. This all circles back to One Health, the idea that human, animal, and environmental health are deeply linked. That litter box in your bathroom? Flush the waste down the toilet, and tough Toxoplasma oocysts survive sewage treatment, flow into rivers, reach the ocean, settle on kelp, get eaten by shellfish, and eventually infect sea otters, seals, and dolphins. Along California's coast, up to 60–70% of stranded or dead southern sea otters test positive for Toxoplasma, often from strains traced back to land runoff. A parasite born in urban cat boxes is killing wild animals thousands of miles away. Your everyday routine becomes part of a much bigger ecological loop. So where does you end and it begin? If this tiny organism can make a mouse curious about its own predator, how far does it nudge your own appetite for risk on the road, in business, in extreme sports, or even in darker corners of the mind? One microscopic actor playing way too many roles in the human story. Can you protect yourself? Not completely, but you can cut the odds way down. Never scoop the litter box bare-handed, especially if pregnant or immunocompromised. Cook meat thoroughly. Aim for an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit, 74 degrees Celsius. No more rare steaks or burgers. Wash all fruits and veggies, especially anything that touches soil. Bag cat waste tightly and throw it in the trash. Never flush it. Keep your cat indoors. It protects both her from hunting infected prey and the environment from her feces. Next time you feel that unexplained pull toward risk, flooring it on the highway, launching that side hustle, or chasing the next adrenaline hit, pause and ask, is this me? Or something quietly steering from the inside? Maybe it's time to get a blood test and find out what hits home for you. Your love of cats, your drive for risk, or the sudden urge to check if this invisible co-pilot is along for the ride. Stay curious and stay safe.